The difference between who you are and who you could become isn't talent, luck, or opportunity. It's the quiet, unglamorous decision you make every single day when no one is watching. Good morning. I want to talk with you today about something that quietly separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the fulfilled from the frustrated, the achiever from the dreamer. It's not intelligence, it's not background, it's not even opportunity, it's consistency. Now, before you think this is going to be another lecture about discipline or grinding harder, let me assure you, it's not. What I'm going to share with you are 11 lessons, simple and timeless, that will help you become the kind of person who does what they set out to do, not occasionally, not when they feel like it, but steadily, surely, day after day. If you've struggled with consistency, if you've started things and not finished them, if you've had bursts of motivation, followed by long stretches of nothing, then this message is for you. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Understand what consistency really is. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's not about never missing a day or never making a mistake. Consistency is simply this: moving in the same direction over time with purpose. Think of a river. It doesn't rush all at once. It flows steadily, and over centuries it carves canyons through solid rock. That's what consistency does. It transforms you, not through force, but through patient, persistent effort. Lesson 2. Decide who you are. Here's a truth most people miss: your behavior follows your identity. If you see yourself as someone who trees to exercise, you'll be inconsistent. But if you see yourself as someone who is healthy, someone who takes care of their body, then the actions become natural. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? A writer? Then you write. A builder? Then you build. A learner? Then you learn. Your identity is not what you hope to be someday. It is what you decide to be today and tomorrow and the day after that. Lesson 3. Start so small it feels ridiculous. People fail at consistency because they start too big. They want to run 5 miles when they haven't run 500 feet. They want to write a novel when they haven't written a page. Start with something so small you can't say no. 1 push-up, 1 sentence, 5 minutes. The goal in the beginning is not achievement, it is momentum. Once you're in motion, it's easier to stay in motion. But you must begin. Lesson 4. Master the morning. I'll tell you a secret about successful people: they win the day in the first hour. Not because the morning is magical, but because it sets the tone for everything that follows. When you do the thing you said you'd do, before distractions, before excuses, before the world makes demands on you, you've already won. You've proven to yourself that you are in control, and that feeling carries through the entire day. So decide tonight what tomorrow morning looks like, and when you wake, do that thing first. Lesson 5. Build systems, not goals. Goals are important. They give you direction. But systems are what get you there. A goal says, I want to lose 20 pounds. A system says, I prepare healthy meals every Sunday and walk 30 minutes each morning. The goal is the destination. The system is the vehicle. And here's what matters: if you follow the system, the goal takes care of itself. Focus on the process, and the results become inevitable. Lesson 6. Remove friction. Here's something most people don't consider: willpower is limited. You only have so much of it in a day. So if you rely on willpower alone, you'll fail. Instead, design your environment to make consistency easy. Want to read more? Put the book on your pillow. Want to exercise? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to eat better? Don't keep junk food in the house. Make the right choice the easy choice. Remove the friction, and you remove the excuse. Lesson 7. Track your progress. There's something powerful about seeing evidence of your effort. It doesn't have to be complicated. A check mark on a calendar, a number in a journal, a simple log of what you did. When you track, 2 things happen. First, you hold yourself accountable. Second, you create proof that you're changing. And when you see that proof, you want to keep the streak alive. You don't want to break the chain. So find a way to measure. Make it visible. Let it remind you of who you're becoming. Lesson 8. Forgive yourself and begin again. You're going to miss a day. You're going to slip. And when that happens, most people quit. They think, I've already broken the streak, so what's the point? But here's the truth. Consistency is not destroyed by 1 missed day. It is destroyed by the second. The person who misses once and returns immediately is still consistent. The person who misses once and gives up was never building consistency at all. So when you stumble, and you will, don't waste time in guilt or regret. Simply begin again, today, right now. Lesson 9, surround yourself with the right people. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. If you spend time with people who are undisciplined, distracted, and inconsistent, you'll become that way too. But if you surround yourself with people who are steady, purposeful, and committed, their habits will lift you. You don't need to abandon anyone. But you do need to be intentional about who influences you. Seek out those who are going where you want to go. Learn from them. Walk with them. Lesson 10, remember why you started. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up. The excitement will fade. The newness will wear off. And in those moments, you need something deeper than motivation. You need meaning. Why did you begin this in the first place? What will your life look like if you continue? What will it look like if you quit? Write down your reasons. Keep them close. And when the resistance comes, and it will, read them, remind yourself, and then do the work anyway. Lesson 11. Understand that you become what you repeat. Here's the central truth, the one idea I want you to carry with you long after this message ends. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. You are not your intentions. You are not your wishes. You are your actions repeated over time. Every day, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. And the person who votes consistently, even when the margin is small, wins. So ask yourself, what am I voting for today? Consistency is not perfection, it is direction. I meet people every day who tell me they're just not consistent. They've tried to build better habits, tried to change their lives, tried to become the person they know they could be, and they've failed. They started strong, full of determination, and then life happened. They missed a day, then another, and before they knew it, weeks had passed and they were right back where they started. And here's what troubles them most: they believe something is wrong with them. They look at successful people who seem to show up every single day without fail, and they think, I'm just not built that way. I don't have what they have. I'm too weak, too undisciplined, too human. If that's you, if you've ever felt that way, I want you to stop right there, because I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. Those people you admire, the ones who seem so consistent, so reliable, so perfect in their habits, they're not perfect, not even close. They miss days too. They get tired. They get discouraged. They struggle with the same resistance you do. But here's what they understand that most people don't. Consistency has nothing to do with perfection. Nothing at all. Let me say that again, because it's important. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about moving in the same direction. Think about a ship crossing the ocean. Does it sail in a perfectly straight line from port to port? Of course not. The wind shifts. The currents change. The captain makes constant adjustments, sometimes veering left, sometimes right, sometimes slowing down to weather a storm. But what matters is this: the ship keeps moving toward the destination. It doesn't turn around, it doesn't stop. It may zigzag, it may face delays, but it's always pointed in the right direction. That's consistency. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's not about never making a mistake or never missing a step. It's about getting back on course quickly when you drift. It's about keeping your eyes on where you're going, even when the journey gets hard. Most people think they need to be flawless to be successful. They think if they can't do it perfectly, they shouldn't do it at all. So they quit at the first sign of imperfection. They miss one workout and decide they're not gym people. They skip one day of writing and tell themselves they're not real writers. But that's not how success works. That's not how anything worth doing works. Here's the truth: small, repeated actions, imperfect, humble, ordinary actions, compound into extraordinary results over time. It's not the intensity of what you do on one day that matters. It's the fact that you keep showing up day after day, even when it's hard, even when you're not at your best. A single workout won't transform your body, but 100 workouts will. A single page won't finish your book, but 300 pages will. A single kind word won't save a marriage, but 1,000 kind words, spoken consistently over years, will build something unshakable. You see, consistency isn't about the size of the step. It's about the direction of the step. And as long as you're moving forward, even just an inch, you're winning. So here's what I want you to understand, and I want you to hold on to this: you don't need to be perfect to build the life you want. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be stronger, smarter, or more disciplined than you are right now. You just need to keep moving. Keep pointing toward your goal. Keep taking the next small step, and then the one after that. Because direction, my friend, is everything. And as long as you're headed the right way, you're closer today than you were yesterday. And that is what consistency really is. Your identity shapes your behavior. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to keep doing something when, deep down, you don't believe you're the kind of person who does that thing? You set a goal. You make a plan. You tell yourself, this time will be different. This time I'm really going to change. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, you do well. You stick to it. You feel proud. But then something shifts, the motivation fades. The excitement wears off, and slowly, quietly, you find yourself slipping back into your old patterns. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because somewhere inside there's a voice saying, "Who are you kidding? This isn't who you are." And when that voice speaks, it's almost impossible to keep going, because you're fighting against something much deeper than discipline or willpower. You're fighting against your own sense of self. Now, let me ask you something. If you don't see yourself as the kind of person who succeeds at this, whatever this is for you, how long can you really keep it up? Not long. And here's why. Your behavior doesn't come from your goals. It doesn't come from your plans or your strategies or even your best intentions. Your behavior comes from your identity, from the story you tell yourself about who you are. If you see yourself as someone who tries to get in shape, you'll act like someone who tries. You'll start, you'll stop, you'll start again. But if you see yourself as someone who is healthy, someone who values and takes care of their body, then working out isn't something you force yourself to do, it's just what you do. It's part of who you are. Do you see the difference? One is an attempt, the other is an identity. Let me give you another example. Imagine two people who want to quit smoking. Someone offers them a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Same goal, but completely different identities. And I'll tell you right now, the second person has a far better chance of success. Why? Because they've already made the shift. They're not fighting to become something new. They've already decided they are something new. This is one of the most powerful secrets of lasting change, and most people never figure it out. They keep trying to change their actions without changing their identity. And that's like trying to steer a ship while the anchor is still down. Your actions will always try to align with who you believe you are. So if you want to change your actions, you have to start by changing your identity. Now, how do you do that? How do you shift from "I'm trying to be" to "I am"? You start by making a decision, a real one, not a wish, not a hope. A decision. You decide, this is who I am now. You don't wait for permission. You don't wait until you've earned it or proven yourself. You simply claim it today, right now. You say, "I am a writer," and then you write. You say, "I am disciplined," and then you act with discipline. You say, "I am someone who keeps their word," and then you keep it. At first, it might feel like you're pretending, and in a way you are. But here's the beautiful thing. Every time you act in alignment with that new identity, you're gathering evidence. You're proving to yourself that it's true. And over time, the pretending becomes believing. The believing becomes being. You become what you practice being. So let me leave you with this. Stop trying to force yourself to do things that don't match who you think you are. Instead, decide who you want to be, and then start acting like that person. Not perfectly, not all at once, but consistently, deliberately, one choice at a time. Because when your identity changes, your behavior follows naturally. And when your behavior changes, your life changes. It all starts with a simple decision. This is who I am now. Make that decision today, and then prove it to yourself one small action at a time. The battle is won in the morning. You wake up with the best intentions. You really do. You tell yourself that today is going to be different. Today you're going to do that thing you've been putting off. Write those pages, make those calls, get to the gym, work on that project. Today is the day you finally follow through. But then the day begins, the phone buzzes, an email demands your attention. Someone needs something from you. A problem pops up that will only take a minute. And before you know it, it's noon. Then it's 3 o'clock. Then it's evening and you're exhausted, and that thing you were going to do. Well, maybe tomorrow. And tomorrow comes, and the same thing happens. And the day after that. And the day after that. You end each day feeling defeated, frustrated with yourself. wondering why you can't seem to get ahead, why you can't seem to take control of your own life. And the weight of all those broken promises to yourself starts to pile up. Now, here's a question worth considering. What if the problem isn't your discipline, or your motivation, or even your time management? What if the problem is simply when you're trying to do the most important things? Let me tell you something I've learned from studying successful people over many years. They don't win the day at the end of the day. They win it in the first hour, sometimes in the first 30 minutes. They do the most important thing first, before the world wakes up and starts making demands, before distractions pile up, before their energy and willpower get depleted by 1,000 little decisions. They master the morning, and in doing so, they master their lives. You see, the morning is the only time of day that truly belongs to you. It's quiet. It's yours. Nobody is asking anything of you yet. The urgencies haven't started. The chaos hasn't begun. It's a pocket of pure potential, and what you do with it sets the tone for everything that follows. When you do the thing you said you'd do, before you check your phone, before you open your email, before you let the world in, something powerful happens. You've already won. You've proven to yourself, in the most concrete way possible, that you are in control, that you keep your promises, that you are the kind of person who does what they set out to do. And that feeling, it carries you through the entire day. It builds momentum. It creates confidence. Even if the rest of the day goes sideways, you've already accomplished what mattered most. But when you wait, when you tell yourself you'll do it later, when you have more time, when you feel more ready, you're setting yourself up to lose. Because later never comes. There is no more time. The day fills up, your energy drains, and by evening, that thing you were going to do feels like climbing a mountain. The morning is when you have the most clarity, the most energy, the most control. It's when your mind is fresh and your willpower is full. So why would you waste that on scrolling through social media or reacting to other people's agendas? Successful people don't. They protect their mornings like treasure. They decide the night before what the first hour will look like, and when they wake up, they execute. No debate, no negotiation. They simply do it. And here's what's remarkable. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It doesn't have to be 2 hours at the gym or writing an entire chapter. It can be 20 minutes, 15, even 10. What matters isn't the size of the action. It's the fact that you did it, that you honored your commitment to yourself before doing anything else. So here's what I want you to understand. You don't need more hours in the day. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to reclaim your mornings. You need to decide right now, tonight, what the first thing you'll do tomorrow morning is, and then do it. Before anything else. Before the world gets a vote. Because when you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days, you win your life. It's that simple. And it starts tomorrow, the moment you open your eyes. Decide now. Protect that time. And show up for yourself first. Environment is stronger than willpower. You've been there before, haven't you? You make a promise to yourself. You're going to eat better. You're going to stop wasting time. You're going to finally start that project you've been talking about for months. And you mean it. You really do. You're determined. You're motivated. You're ready. But then, a few days in, maybe a week if you're lucky, something happens. You're tired after a long day. You open the pantry and there it is, the junk food you forgot you bought last week. Or you sit down at your desk, ready to work, and your phone is right there, glowing, pulling at your attention. Or you tell yourself you'll go to bed early tonight, but the remote is within reach and there's just one more episode. And in that moment, all your determination, all your willpower, all your good intentions, they crumble. Not because you're weak, not because you don't care, but because you're human, and you're fighting a battle you were never meant to win. You blame yourself. You think, if I just had more discipline, if I were stronger, if I really wanted it enough, I could resist. And the guilt settles in heavy and familiar. But let me ask you something. What if the problem isn't you at all? What if you've been trying to solve this the wrong way from the very beginning? Here's a truth that most people never consider. Willpower is limited. You only have so much of it in a day. Every decision you make, every temptation you resist, every time you force yourself to do something you don't feel like doing, it drains your willpower a little more. By the end of the day, there's almost nothing left. And that's when the environment wins. That's when whatever is easiest, Whatever is most accessible, whatever is right in front of you, that's what you'll do. You see, your environment is always working on you. Silently, powerfully, every single moment. It's either making good choices easy or making bad choices easy. And whichever one it makes easier is the one you'll end up doing, especially when your willpower is low. Think about it. If you keep ice cream in the freezer, you're going to eat ice cream. Not because you're undisciplined, but because it's there. If your phone is on your nightstand when you're trying to sleep, you're going to pick it up. If your running shoes are buried in the closet, you're not going to run. Your environment is either your greatest ally or your worst enemy. And the remarkable thing is, you get to choose which one it is. Successful people understand this. They don't rely on willpower alone because they know it's not reliable. Instead, they design their surroundings to make the right choices automatic. They remove temptation. They reduce friction. They set themselves up to win before the battle even begins. Want to read more? Put the book on your pillow so you see it when you go to bed. Want to exercise in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to eat healthier? Don't bring junk food into your home in the first place. Want to focus on deep work? Put your phone in another room. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But that's the beauty of it. You're not trying to become a superhuman with endless willpower. You're simply making it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. And when you do that, something wonderful happens. The struggle disappears. You're not constantly fighting yourself. You're not white-knuckling your way through every day. You just flow. The good habits become natural because your environment supports them. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Stop trying to be stronger. Stop beating yourself up for lacking discipline. Instead, look around you. Look at your home, your workspace, your daily surroundings. Ask yourself, is this environment helping me or hurting me? Is it making my goals easier or harder? Then change it. Remove the obstacles. Remove the temptations. Put the good things within reach and the bad things out of sight. Design your world so that the path of least resistance is the path you actually want to take. Because willpower is limited, my friend. But your environment, that works for you 24 hours a day, every single day, without ever getting tired. Set it up right, and you won't need to rely on willpower at all. Progress, not pressure. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from trying to be perfect. You know the feeling. You set high standards for yourself, maybe impossibly high, and every day you wake up carrying the weight of them. You tell yourself you have to do it all, and do it all right. No mistakes, no off days, no room for error, and for a while maybe you can keep up. You push yourself hard. You sacrifice. You ignore the tiredness, the stress, the voice inside that's asking if this is really sustainable. Because you think that's what it takes. You think success demands perfection. But then comes the day when you can't meet your own standards. You slip. You fall short. Maybe you miss a workout, or you don't finish everything on your list, or you make a choice you told yourself you wouldn't make. And suddenly, the whole thing collapses. You feel like a failure. You think, what's the point? I can't even do this right. And you quit. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. And humans can't sustain perfection. Nobody can. Now, let me ask you something important. What if the pressure you're putting on yourself isn't helping you at all? What if it's actually the very thing that's keeping you from getting where you want to go? Here's something I want you to understand deeply because it might change everything for you. The goal is not to be flawless. The goal is not to never stumble, never struggle, never have a bad day. The goal is simply to make progress, to move forward, even if it's just a little, even if it's messy, even if it's not what you hoped it would be. Progress, not pressure. That's the key. You see, when you demand perfection from yourself, you're creating a standard that guarantees failure. Because perfection doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not sustainable. And the moment you fall short, which you inevitably will, you're left feeling defeated and worthless. And that feeling makes you want to quit. But when you shift your focus to progress, everything changes. Progress is real. Progress is achievable. Progress is something you can do today, right now, no matter where you're starting from or how you're feeling. Did you show up? That's progress. Did you do something? Even if it wasn't everything. That's progress. Did you keep going after a setback? That's progress. The person who writes one imperfect page every day will finish a book. The person who waits until they can write the perfect page will never start. The person who goes for a 15-minute walk, even when they don't feel like it, is building a habit. The person who skips it because 15 minutes isn't enough is building nothing. Small, imperfect actions compound over time into extraordinary results, but only if you keep taking them. Only if you give yourself permission to be imperfect, to be human, to do what you can with what you have. And here's the beautiful part: when you release the pressure, when you stop demanding perfection from yourself, something remarkable happens. You actually become more consistent. Because showing up imperfectly is so much easier than showing up perfectly. And showing up is all that really matters. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall constantly, over and over again. Do they give up? Do they think, I failed, so what's the point? No, they just keep trying. They make progress. And eventually they walk. Not because they were perfect, but because they were persistent. That's what you need to be: persistent, not perfect. So here's what I want you to hear, really hear today. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do it all right. You don't have to be flawless or fearless or always at your best. You just have to show up. You just have to take one small step forward, and then another, and then another. Some days that step will be big. Some days it will be tiny. Some days you might stumble, and that's okay. Because you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to make progress. And progress, my friend, steady, imperfect human progress, is what builds the life you want. Not someday, not when you finally get it all together, but right now, today, with exactly who you are and what you have. So release the pressure, embrace the progress, and keep moving forward one imperfect step at a time. That's all it takes. And you can do that. Now I want you to do something. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Today. Choose one thing, just one, that you know would change your life if you did it every day. Maybe it's 10 minutes of reading. Maybe it's a morning walk. Maybe it's writing 3 sentences, or making one healthy meal, or spending 10 focused minutes on the work that matters most. Choose it. Decide it. And then, today, before the sun sets, do it. And tomorrow, do it again. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for the right mood. Don't wait for inspiration. Just begin. And return. And begin again. Because consistency isn't built in a single heroic moment. It's built in 1,000 small ones. And you, my friend, are capable of every single one. The river doesn't carve the canyon in a day, but it carves it nonetheless. You can too. Now go. Begin. This is your time.